Picture this, it's 1780. The American Revolution is hanging on by a thread. It's a time of absolute heroes for sure, but it's also a time when one single choice, one fracture in loyalty, could bring the entire thing crashing down. So let's talk about how one of America's greatest heroes almost became its greatest destroyer.
Wow, I mean, that really just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? This wasn't just someone changing their mind or switching sides. Nope. This was a calculated, cold-blooded bargain to sell out the very core of the American defense. And the crazy part is, this whole story, it doesn't start with treason. It starts with heroism. Before the name Benedict Arnold became, well, a synonym for traitor, it was a name that meant courage. This was the guy who led from the front, a commander whose bravery on the battlefield was absolutely legendary. But as we're about to see, even the strongest heroes can crack.
And this really lays out the two sides of the man, doesn't it? On one hand, you have the warrior, the hero who paid for his reputation in actual blood. But on the other hand, you have this guy who's just stewing in resentment. He felt like he was constantly being overlooked, totally unappreciated. Politicians, rival officers, they were always questioning him, questioning his honor. And that bitterness, that constant feeling of being wronged, well, that became the tiny crack that was about to shatter everything.
And this is what was on the line. West Point wasn't just some fort. It was the absolute key to the entire Northern War effort. I mean, look at that description. It sat on a knife edge of the Hudson River. If you controlled West Point, you controlled the flow of everything. So for Arnold, being in command made him incredibly powerful, but it also made that fortress a priceless target for the British.
So, let's put the pieces together. You've got this guy, his pride is wounded, he feels cheated, and now he's in command of the most critical asset in the entire war. He became vulnerable. He was open to what one source calls the seduction of a better offer. And what started as a kind of dangerous flirtation with a British officer named John André, well, it slowly hardened into a treacherous secret bargain.
And this wasn't some vague handshake deal. No, this was a transaction, plain and simple. Arnold was going to hand over the whole shebang, the fortress, the maps, the troop routines, basically crippling the American Northern strategy. And in return, a huge sum of money, £20,000, which was a fortune back then. He'd also get a commission as a British officer and, maybe most importantly to him, the promise of a redeemed name. He was literally trading a country's future for a fortune.
Of course, you can't pull off something this huge out in the open. It was a conspiracy built on whispers and secrets. The entire plot depended on this web of clandestine communication, coded letters passed through messengers who, get this, had no idea they were carrying historic treason in their pockets.
It's funny, isn't it? The biggest, most complex plans, they can completely fall apart because of one tiny mistake. All those secret signals, all that careful planning, it all came down to one guy, a single courier carrying the proof. One wrong turn, one chance encounter, and the whole thing could blow up.
And what happens next plays out like a scene straight from a movie. Arnold hands the papers to his contact, John André. But then, on some lonely road, André gets captured. A couple of Patriot militiamen stop him and decide to search him. And what do they find, hidden in his boot? Everything. The maps, the plans, all in Arnold's own handwriting. Suddenly, it's an absolute race against time. A message is speeding toward American command. But at the same time, a warning gets to Arnold. He just bolts, fleeing for his life and escaping literally moments before his treason is revealed to everyone.
So Arnold gets away. He makes it to that British ship on the Hudson and sails off. He saved his own skin, physically, but his name, his reputation, it was destroyed forever. In that one frantic moment of escape, the celebrated hero vanished, and in his place stood the man whose name would be whispered with contempt for centuries.
But the story doesn't just end there, with Arnold sailing down the Hudson. Oh no. The consequences of what he did rippled outwards, leaving this permanent scar on American history and completely defining the lives of everyone involved.
The fallout was, as you can imagine, fast and brutal. John André, the British officer, was hanged as a spy. Arnold got his commission in the British Army, but he never really got the honor he was chasing. He was in exile, and frankly, nobody trusted him. His name became the ultimate American insult. But here's the real irony. His betrayal didn't break the revolution. It actually made it stronger. The very real threat of having a traitor in their midst hardened American resolve and, believe it or not, strengthened their commitment to winning.
At the end of the day, that really says it all, doesn't it? The ledger of history. It doesn't forgive and it doesn't forget. All of Arnold's battlefield heroics, all the blood he shed for the American cause. It was all wiped clean by one single monumental act of betrayal. Years of service just erased.
So we're left with this really big question. Benedict Arnold's story is this incredible, dramatic tale about one man, but it points to a much larger truth, you know? A truth about trust and reputation and consequences. It makes you wonder what choices are so profound that they just can't be undone, and what fractures in our own history are still shaping who we are today.